One of my favorite new partners is Warrior Salt. We talk on the show. We're trying to empower you to mind, body, and energy. Energy starts with being hydrated. Let me tell you, after a workout and if you're eating a healthy diet, it's hard to get enough sodium. Well, you wouldn't believe it. We were coached for so long that sodium's bad, but that's why I love this partner. No BS, just electrolytes. They keep it simple. We're talking about fruit powder and salt. There's no stevia, no citric acid, none of the bad stuff, just the stuff you need to stay hydrated. That's what I'm doing. I go to a workout, before workout, after workout. You need it both. If you're thirsty, you've waited too long. That's the point. With Warrior Salt, again, it's all about simple hydration that you need without anything that you don't want. One of the official partners here of Vibe Science as we take you to your highest vibe.
Just so many of us are training in the wrong direction. So it's just a matter of training in the right direction towards the life you want, towards the goal, towards the relationship, towards whatever that is. Because patterns does what? It signals safety to your nervous system. And anytime your body feels safe, it is open to change. So that's why I believe rhythmic patterns are so powerful when you want to create change. Our mind is to do what? To keep us safe, to keep us alive. So it'll always keep us in the known. It will always try to pull us back to the known. So you do need to push through to become the person you want to be. The thing about the unknown, guess what lives in the unknown? Our goals, our dreams, all the things that we haven't seen or touched or been yet. Like, we don't know what it looks like because we haven't been there yet. So you have to push yourself. I ran away when I was 13. Now I train people how to connect with themselves. So there's a path. It just depends how you want to use it.
This is Vibe Science, a top 100 wellness podcast presented by the Radcast Network, breaking wellness barriers and making health truly personal. Here are your hosts, Ryan Alford and Chris Hansen.
Hello and welcome to Vibe Science. We're always taking you to your highest vibe. It's about mind, body, energy, and even disruption, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. Joined as always by my good friend down in Miami, Chris Hansen. What's up, Chris?
What's good, brother? How are you today?
Hey, the vibes are high. I'm ready to disrupt, interrupt everything. You know, like that's what we're trying to do on this show. We need like, this is like the unofficial stop and pay attention and change the way you think. Because look, if there's anyone that couldn't change, it was me. And with this show, I've personally seen the change in belief systems and different things because I've seen it firsthand. And hey, Chris, I give you a lot of credit for that.
Hey, just trying to save the world one podcast host at a time, you know?
I know. Well, guess what? I'm excited because we got Angela Jean. She is a true disruptor, mindset disruptor, and we're excited to have her on the show. Angela, it's great to have you.
Hey, guys. Happy to be here.
Yes. Angela, how are we today?
I'm doing good. Like I said, I'm ready to geek out with you guys.
I know.
Vibe Science. When I saw that, I was like, I'm in.
Hey.
Let's do it.
Good. It's working. Chris, it's working.
5:30 to me, baby.
Yeah. Like your vibe already. What's, the whole mindset space is broad, but what I really liked, Angela, like reading your stuff and like you even said the word, I think it gets a little ethereal, but I like the science that you bring to this, the smarts. Like it can maybe seem overwhelming at first, but then I'm like, wow, this is really practical. Talk to me about like how you got involved with all of this and, maybe you just set the table for our audience on kind of your background.
Yeah. So real quick about the science, what I love about the science is it really creates a mental map for your mind to follow. How I got involved with this, not to bring it to a dark part of a podcast, but I have multiple suicides in my family between my dad, my little sister, and then I lost my mom directly after. In the process of healing from that, I just got really passionate about, cracking the code, figuring out how to train the mind. Because anytime there's suicidal tendencies, you're stuck in thought patterns, you're stuck in the spiral, right? Like, how do you break that loop? So that's when I got really passionate. And obviously religion came first and then spirituality. And that, is debateful. So that's when I really started leaning into the science and really started studying the mind. Because you can't really debate the way the left and the right brain communicate. You can't really debate the way energy works in the body. You can't really debate real-time pattern interruptions and nervous system training. So that's how I started slowly building all the modalities that I use now and teach now. And I have a strong belief that you are who you train to be. You are training in the background with every single decision you make. You wake up in the morning, you go to the fridge, what you choose, you're training an unhealthy version or you're training a healthy version. If you have something you need to get done, if you do it, you're training someone that gets something done, or a lazy version. So I truly believe that we're constantly training in the background, whether we know it or not. Just so many of us are training in the wrong direction. So it's just a matter of training in the right direction towards the life you want, towards the goal, towards the relationship, towards whatever that is. Is that a little bit of a nutshell for you?
Yes,
I like
that's
that.
perfect. I mean, it's
Simple.
It's simple, but it's reprogramming. Like Chris and I have talked about that in different, modalities, different things. We've had people on the show in different ways you can do that, but it's like we're creatures of habit and we get programmed. And what causes that programming? We can all debate. We can talk about, childhood and all these things. But the reality is, and the point of this show is the empowerment that you have to make the decision to reprogram and change, because no one is stuck. And I would think anyone coaching, teaching, guiding, whatever the word is in mindset, it has to start there, right?
Yeah. And 100% what you just said is like, we all have our patterns, and that's where you start. The mind seeks patterns. It rinses and repeats patterns. And that's how patterns are so powerful. And that's when I started working with rhythmic patterns, because patterns does what? It signals safety to your nervous system. And anytime your body feels safe, it is open to change. So that's why I believe rhythmic patterns are so powerful when you want to create change, whether that's in your love life, whether that's in business life, body goals, whatever it is. So you really do start with creating a rhythm to sync your body. Because as soon as you can make your body feel safe, it'll be receptive to whatever you're feeding it. You know what I mean? And then it's just a matter of continuing to feed the mind, the pattern. That's why they say 30 days. I mean, people debate 30 days, 45 days to create a new habit. So it's just a matter of consistency as well.
Let's go down that path of rhythm.
Okay.
And defining, like I grew up in a musical family. Dad still to this day is in a band. So I think of drum beats, and things like that. But explain a little bit about what you mean by rhythm.
Let's actually stick on that, because I have a musical background too. I used to be a backup singer and dancer. And the funny thing is, I was in the drill team when I was like 12. I can still hear that drum beat in my head. That's when I knew that patterns stick. You know what I mean? So I started thinking to myself, okay, how can I train the momentum of the mind? How can I train negative thought patterns? Because when you're stuck in a negative thought pattern, when you're looping, when you're ruminating, it's like you can't get out of you want to just like jump out of your body. So I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, how can I harness the momentum of my mind and somehow insert the information I want in there to get this shitty thought out of my head? And that's when I really started playing with rhythm. So I would start with, like you say, like a beat. Let's just say a beat. It starts with the rhythm. But then the reason why affirmations don't always work, and this is why I am very strategic with the way I frame my affirmations, is because what's happening is, let's say you're someone that's broke and you want to be rich. So you're saying affirmations, I am rich, I am rich. What it does, it creates that cognitive dissonance where you're saying one thing, but you feel something else because you're looking at your life and you're like, I'm broke. So you create that inner conflict. You know what I mean? And when I speak about coherence, everything has to be pointing in the same direction for anything to be effective. So with the way I frame my affirmations, they're very strategic. It's almost as if it's a rhythmic riddle, because when the mind is entertained, when it's relaxed, when it's in a state of play, it's very receptive. So the information bypasses the mind's defenses and goes straight to the subconscious mind, and it's receptive. And even if it's for 1 minute, 2 minutes, the vibrational weight that moment has of being in complete coherence is so much more powerful than sitting there doing an hour-long meditation, an hour-long, affirmation loop that you might listen to on YouTube, where you're going in and out of calling bullshit on yourself, in and out of believing, in and out of feeling like shit, and then having a moment where you're like, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? So what the rhythm does is it just syncs everything together.
How do you work with people Angela?
I am a firm believer that we are our own healers. So I actually don't do any type of one-on-one. I have my YouTube channel and I offer digital downloads because I want to empower people that we have everything we need within us. I think anytime, this is my own personal experience, so no one be offended by this. I haven't had any success with a therapist. Meanwhile, I only went to one. But I believe that when you outsource your healing, you feel like you always need to go to that person before you can feel good. You feel like you have to go sit in that office. And if you can't get there, then you're going to feel like shit until you do. So I just really like to empower people to at least learn some of these tools so that they have something to relieve their suffering, something to recalibrate themselves with, something to bring themselves back to baseline, you know, because if you do it enough time, you really do become fluent and you don't need anything.
Chris, Angela Jean just summarized our show for us. I love don't outsource your healing.
Yes.
That's what this show's for, Angela. Like literally is to empower people to take their wellness, mind, body, energy into their own hands. That's why we have the experts like you. That's why we do the show. I love that. That is exactly what we're going for here. And it is one of the biggest problems, I think, is in elevating all of these things that we do, the crutch of taking your own responsibility and ownership of it, I think can be a slippery slope.
Totally. And I think that in moments of rage and pain is like the most powerful time to transform that energy. And most people don't. They sit on it, they go drink, they suppress it. That's why I like doing like certain pattern interrupters that look a little weird. Like you're going to look a little crazy if you're in your car, but whatever. That to me is the most powerful time because whatever you are feeling is so in the forefront of your mind and you know exactly what you don't want, that it's such a good way to use the contrast to give you clarity on what you do.
Yeah.
So I do this thing where I clap really freaking hard and I rub my hands together and I go like this and I have like this energy ball that I can feel. And with all of my anger and my pain and my yuckiness, I literally in my mind have what I don't want, what I don't like, what I'm hating in that moment. And I flip the script and I'm like, this is what I want. And I like feed it into this energy ball and I just play with it. And I swear it just, not only does it diffuse the energy, I feel like I have fully transformed the energy in that moment. So I love like emotional spirals because I'm like, how often do you get those bursts of energy? Because that's what I think they are. You know, if we're baseline all the time, that's cool. But in those moments.
Talking with Angela Jean, she is a mindset disruptor. How do we, you just gave one, but like, I think disruption is a word that's used, but it's hard as hell to do. It's we talk about these things, but some of these things are so ingrained. Like, how do we really break through?
Well, that's what I'm saying. In the moment of the emotional charge, that is the moment to break the psycho-cybernetic loop, not to use a big word, but that's your moment where you're being reactive. You're essentially in the programs. You're essentially unconscious because you aren't consciously choosing what you're doing with this energy, what you're doing in this moment, what you're transforming this moment into. You know, so there's a crazy looking breath I do. I clap. I do a lot of weird stuff. But the thing is, you're either going to be crazy or look crazy for one moment. You know what I mean? Right. So choose.
Look crazy or be actually crazy on the inside.
Yeah, it's like, and it's not. Like, no one knows what you're doing.
I mean,
I can't wait to be in Miami and look over and Angela Jean's in her car going.
One day, a couple weeks ago, I had to do that, and I did not.
She's having road rage.
I mean, in a simple
pattern
way,
disruption.
I've implemented this with just like breath work, even like.
I do the crazy one. I do the one where I try to like literally make myself like I do.
Like pass out
through my nose and out through my mouth really hard, to where I'm so lightheaded that I can't even have a thought.
Yeah.
One thing about this that I focus on, you guys, that is kind of important. It's like priming. That's why I focus on micro resets. With the rhythmic patterns, they're micro resets. They're 1-2 minute sessions. It should be done hourly because this is priming your mind for the moment of decision, priming your mind for the moment of the spiral. Because like I said, the thought patterns will start to replace your old thought patterns. It just does. It just works because your mind is receptive to it. So doing micro resets, I think micro workouts were put on the map a long time ago. Like how it's more effective to go to the gym, do a very focused 30-minute get in, get out. than sitting and walking around for an hour and a half. It's kind of the same thing, you know. It is mental fitness.
Angela, I really like a term that you have on your website, and I want you to kind of talk about it, because I think as much as we empower people, we make this, but this battleground of transformation. And I think about it because, you can give this knowledge and do these things, but then there's like real life. You got the people in your life, the places in your life, all these sort of things that interact with you and your patterns and all that. Talk about like that battleground and how you balance the change you're trying to make with every variable around you.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like the battlegrounds of our mind, you know what I mean, is what we're constantly fighting with, I guess you can say. The problem is, number one, that I see is most people lack accountability, and they want to make everything in their life everyone else's problem. So that's number one, is being accountable for the role you play in every single struggle, fight, argument, whatever you want to call it. And the second is, like I say, it's constant tuning. Like, this is a lifestyle. This is not a one and done. You have to, like I say, in the morning, I get up, I move my energy. If I know I'm going to be around someone that's an energy dumper, an energy sucker, I kind of prepare myself for that. It's all about preparing and learning these skill sets, having these tools, so that when you go into a situation, if you feel dumped on, if they create stress, if you feel anxiety, when you leave them, you know how to recalibrate, bring yourself back to baseline. And that's why I say you have to have so many tools in place. And it's simple, you guys. This is like 1 minute to move the energy, 1 minute to, like you say, drop down and do a couple push-ups. Like, it really is that simple. I think we complicate healing. We really do complicate healing.
What's the full day for you, like, Angela Jean? Like, I mean, you talked about your morning routine and some of those things.
Like I said, I get up. Well, actually, before I get up, I kind of set my intention of who I am, who I want to be in this world. You know what I mean? With a little tiny affirmation. I go in the bathroom, do my stuff in the mirror. Believe it or not, it's a constant thing. And then I have my coffee, and I do, like I said, my energy work. You're like, oh, you're so fun. All of this only takes about 10 minutes, though, just so you know. And then I start my day. It's pretty basic, but every night, obviously, I still make time to go out, have cocktail or early dinner with my friends. And then I ride my bike every night down to South of 5th. And that's kind of like my mental reset. And that's when I get all the best ideas for what I'm going to come home and do. And that's kind of my life right now. It's pretty simple. Not a lot of noise.
I keep coming back to the rhythm. I want to talk more about the rhythm.
Yeah.
Like, I go to the music part of it.
Okay.
And I know it's not just that.
Okay.
But how does one go about truly changing the beat, the pattern there? Like, because and I want you to get a little woo-woo here. Like, I do. Because I do think, like, in the neuro side of things and all of that, for how you kind of break that down for people.
The reason why it works is because, like I said, the biggest resistance that happens is when the left and right brain are not communicating with clarity. So if you feed your mind an affirmation, and your left brain calls bullshit on it, you're not doing anything. You're just creating more resistance. You're creating more harm than good. You're making yourself feel worse about yourself. If you're someone that wants to be wealthy and you're saying, I'm rich, and your body's calling bullshit on it. That's why it's not, I think the way I frame my words are more important than the rhythm. But obviously the rhythm is what syncs everything together, because everything's moving in the right direction. It's complete coherence between the body, mind, breath. Like, everything's moving in the same direction. It creates harmony. Everything's like, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're in love. Yeah. It's like I said, I'm going to have to give you some of my audios to sample. I wish I should have given it to you before so you could hear.
Yeah.
But it's the way I am framing the words, because they sneak past the mind's defenses. The left brain is not challenging them. It's agreeing. It's like,
I'm going to try it for sure.
Yeah. Like, for example, one of my really popular audios that the girls like to download was I'm a Goddess. And I actually wrote that after I got ghosted. It's like, F this guy. Those have been the best inspirations dating in Miami. It's amazing how many audios I've made. But it's like, I'm a goddess. I'm worthy of the absolute best. I accept nothing less than what honors my divinity. I'm a goddess. I'm worthy of the absolute best. And it's just hooky. There's another one that's my heart is a mansion filled with many rooms that have yet to be explored. My heart is a mansion, releasing all that. Wait, my heart is a mansion. Oh yeah, welcoming love once more. My heart is a mansion, releasing what no longer serves. Yeah, so it's just like the way I'm seeing it. It's like, excuse me?
Much better singer than me, Chris.
No, it's like it's agreeable. It feels good. My audience, they feel good. My heart is a mansion. I'm releasing what no longer serves. My heart is a mansion, welcoming love once more. Versus if I say, I'm loved, I'm lovable, and your left brain's like, no, you're not. No one loves you. Who loves you? Where? I don't see anyone. The way I'm saying it is, my heart is a mansion, welcoming love once more. There's nothing to challenge. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, we're doing this. It's more of the way I'm framing the words that bypass the mind's defenses. And then obviously the rhythm, it is a rhythm. You know, it's basically the hook of a song, which you would be familiar with, repeated over and over and over again.
Yeah. Same way we memorize song lyrics, you implant these in. Like
Exactly.
when I hear a song from 10 years ago and I still know the lyrics from 10 years ago, it's like, it's because it was programmed in. So you're essentially inserting new software.
That's how we learned the ABCs.
Yeah.
There was a rhythm.
I saw this on your Instagram, and I firmly believe in this because sometimes when you make changes and you do things, you don't set the goal high enough. You know, like it's kind of like, oh, we'll get here. But you had this say, says set goals so high that they demand a totally different version of you.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because people can challenge that because in the world of manifestation, they call it the manifestation ladder. When you go too high, once again, your mind calls bullshit on it. And so it's just like, it's never going to happen. I believe that we are who we train to be. Being on this podcast with you guys right now is training the second level of my life. You know what I mean? Because I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly who I want to be. I can see myself. So I'm training a state of being right now by being on this podcast with you guys. You have to push yourself through the fear. You know what I mean? Because our mind is to do what? To keep us safe, to keep us alive. So it'll always keep us in the known. It will always try to pull us back to the known. So you do need to push through to become the person you want to be. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes the higher the goal, I'm an athlete though too. So my way might not work for everyone. Like I'm an athlete. I like to go hard, train hard, tough coaches. You know what I mean? So this might not speak to everybody, but I think the bigger the goal, the harder you have to fight, the harder you have to work. For me, that works. For me personally, it depends on the individual.
Angela, I mean, you're saying a lot of things that are like triggering like ahas for me. And this is one that you just said, your mind will always go to the known.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you say unknown, it can kind of get to potentially the woo-woo space or something, but that's not what we're saying, what I think you're saying. It's the comfortable. It's the accepted. It's the what's been programmed, the known.
It's your homeostasis. It's your homeostasis. Yeah. You're safe there. You're good. You're not necessarily happy. Or you are. Let's say you are. You know, I don't want to say that. That's a little much. But you're just comfortable there. The thing about the unknown, guess what lives in the unknown, you guys? Our goals, our dreams, all the things that we haven't seen or touched or been yet. Like, we don't know what it looks like because we haven't been there yet. So you have to push yourself if you're ever going to reach that place or that state of being or that goal. That body goal is in the unknown because you don't look in the mirror and see it. That relationship is in the unknown because that guy's not next to you. That money is in the unknown because it's not sitting in your bank account. You know, you have to push yourself. I don't know. I like you say, I like go as big as possible.
I tell people all the time I have no rear view mirrors. Like, it's not because I don't learn, but I mean, I tend to leave it back. You know, for good, bad, or indifferent. It's a skill that I have. I kind of like, all right, I fucked that up, but I'm going to leave that back here, you know? But that's a lot. A lot of people live in the rearview mirror.
You know, I think it's good to have that negative feedback loop, but that also comes with accountability and the role you played in whatever happened. Yeah. That's when you're able to take what that's how you alchemize things, right? Like that's how you alchemize pain, you alchemize heartbreak, disappointments, is acknowledging the role you played and figuring out how you're going to do it better next time. The interesting thing now is that when I look back, everything I'm training right now was things I experienced back then, like the suicides. Now I do mindset training. I had anger issues. Now I train energy. I ran away when I was 13. Now I train people how to, connect with themselves. You know what I mean? So There's a path. It just depends how you want to use it. You marinate in your own shit. How can you have you're going to have a shitty life. You know what I mean? You have to use the negative feedback loop to course correct, to create the person, the version of you that you want to be. You have to become a better version of yourself to get the life that you desire. Constantly. That's what evolution is, guys, right?
Yeah.
It's evolution of self.
It's a journey and not a destination. It's an easy thing to say, but a lot of people think happiness is a destination and it's a constant journey and like fulfillment and all of those things, because that's how we're made as humans. Like we're never going to, it's not a lack of being satisfied, oh, you're never satisfied. Well, no, I'm just always chasing, the next opportunity, the next thing. And it's not because I'm not satisfied, but I think that's kind of the human condition if you live it.
Yeah. I mean, we're here to evolve, right? How else would we have survived this long? So
Yeah.
That's 1000% true.
Chris, as we're wrapping up here with Angela, any final perspectives or questions for her?
Just the one phrase that popped out in my mind just now, you guys were talking, was just that the only constant in life is change, and just a reframe of how we look at it. It's a good thing. Without change, we wouldn't evolve. Without pain, we wouldn't evolve. I'm a firm believer in alchemizing the challenges in life to transform. I mean, I heard someone talking about it recently, and I was like, honestly, like kind of grateful I went through a bunch of crap when I did, because it just expedited my growth and helped me in a lot of different ways. Like you said, you come to the awareness that all this stuff that like you thought was holding you back, that you were angry about, was really like the blessings that now give you the gift to serve other people, which is what I feel like I'm hearing you say. So I love that.
It's your individual soul journey. And I think happiness is living a life of purpose. Like I get up every day, I'm the happiest person I know, because I wake up and I cannot wait to get on my computer and start creating and learning, you know what I mean? And so many people aren't living a life of purpose because they're afraid to look into their pain points, and like I said, all of the things I'm teaching came from my pain points in life, came from my trauma that I experienced. So I always say, instead of making a PowerPoint presentation, to make a pain point presentation.
I come back to this statement a lot, hurt people, heal people, help people. And and so it's, and that's what we're trying to do with this show is like, all right, take ownership of this. Like you've got it. Like you've got to take control of it. And the tools are there. Angela Jean has many of them. You'll find them. We're going to show her links here in a minute. But like, it's just the empowerment. Everybody has the tools at their hands, the knowledge at their hands. We live in a wonderful time for that, where, 30 years ago, we didn't have the internet. And like, I don't know how they did it. That encyclopedia I used to grab off the shelf. I'm dating myself a little bit. But
no, that's why we used to get beat.
Exactly. But now it's all there for the taking. But you got to choose to make that, decision and move forward. Angela Jean, where can everyone learn more about what you're doing, all your internet stuff, et cetera, et cetera?
My handles across my social medias is Angela Jean Chat. My website is soulsyncsessions.com. But they all link to each other. So you find one, you find them all. One thing I want to say real fast before we end, you guys, is that I do believe in the collective consciousness. And I think one thing that we can do is, number one, actually two things. One, be responsible for the energy that you bring into the world when you walk out that front door. And two, I believe that if we can be in control of how we react to things that happen to us, a great way to do this is just understand that everybody's at their own level of consciousness. That's how I extend grace to everybody that screws me over, that sucker punches me, that doesn't, show up the way I want them to. Not everyone is at the same level of growth, so I just think that it's important to extend people grace.
Angela, I really like your energy. We're going to be doing some different things and events and all that. And if I was throwing a party, I'd want you there.
I like it. Be there with bells on, and I'll bring Scrappy.
Yes, please.
He steals the show.
He's the best looking little Ewok dog I've ever seen. Like, that's crazy.
Doesn't like an Ewok.
What kind of dog is he?
Pomeranian.
Okay. All right. That's fancy. Miami dogs. Oh, Chris, final words here before we let Angela go.
Take control, people. The tools are out there.
Yep. There it is.
You are who you train to be.
That's right. Train your energy, not just your mind. I love that. That's from Angela Jean's Instagram. Go follow her. You've got the links. You'll see them on our website, vibescience.com. We've just updated that site. It's taking you to your highest vibes, just like we are every day. We appreciate Angela Jean for being on the show. For Chris Hansen in Miami, I'm Ryan Alford. We'll see you next time on Vibe Science.
The content discussed on this show is provided for reference and educational purposes. The content is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice. Always consult your personal physician for medical advice and proper diagnosis.
Thanks for listening. This is Vibe Science. To learn more or watch full episodes, visit vibesciencepodcast.com. Here's to discovering your highest vibe